Buddy Richard Davenport is with us this morning. RD, it's been a busy week for you. I know last weekend there was a cookout that Sam Pittman and his staff hosted. There was about 20 recruits in attendance. I couldn't keep up throughout Saturday and Sunday and into Monday. The staff did a good job of putting these personalized letters that you saw on Twitter a lot, and I'm sure they were on other social media platforms with these offers that went out. Seemed like quite a few offers went out last weekend regarding the football team.
Yeah, it was definitely a very busy time for Coach Pittman and the staff. And like you said, about 20 kids attended the cookout. They had kids from mostly regional, but they did have some kids from Florida. Cedric Baxter, who was a top 100 prospect, who's a 2023 running back who's got offers from just about anybody you could think of, and he and a teammate came to the cookout, and that was big because he's a major target for Arkansas in the 23 class, but he had a great time. And then obviously the official offers went out to the 22 kids, and obviously we're very, very happy about that. It just makes it official, I guess, and lets them know that they definitely have that offer. But now it's time to grind on the practice field.
Yeah, and for a lot of these kids, they're particularly in Arkansas, and I'm sure other states as well, their practices for their high school seasons are getting underway, and they're focusing on that. So last weekend was a good time. We know that Arkansas practice begins officially tomorrow. So a lot of these recruiting activities, at least with the staffs, will start winding down, and then they'll start planning these official and unofficial visits. I know the Texas weekend will be a huge weekend to try to get not just football recruits on campus, and we're going to talk about basketball in a minute, but every sport will be trying to get official visitors on campus for September 11th.
Yeah, that's whenever there's a big game like that, Alabama or obviously with Texas coming into town, the sidelines are always full during pregame with athletes from all the sports on campus. You definitely notice that when you're down on the sideline for a big game like that. But they'll utilize that weekend for official visits for football, basketball, baseball, you name it, and you try to take advantage of that atmosphere.
Yeah. One of the other things that happened in regards to football before we pivot to some basketball news was linebacker out of Duncanville, Texas, Jordan Crook, committed to the Razorbacks. Tell us more about this linebacker that has pledged to be a Hog.
Yeah, Jordan, boy, I tell you what, he's an impressive young man once you get to talking to him. But physically, he's very impressive too. I talked to him after his visit. He's very thick lower body, upper body. He looks like he's college ready to play right now. 6 foot, about 225, 230 from Duncanville, Texas. Was an Oklahoma State commitment at one time, and then after his official visit to Arkansas in June, he shortly after that decommitted from the Cowboys, and he had other offers from Baylor, Nebraska, Michigan, Southern Cal, Colorado. The list goes on. And probably the thing that really stands out about him when you watch his film is his physicality. He'll blow you up. Very physical kid who probably won't have to make much of an adjustment to the college game from a physical standpoint. Obviously, we'll be facing some bigger and faster players, but he already knows how to hit, and that's what you want at the linebacker position.
Yeah. Do you have a grasp on, I'm sure you do, how many offers went out this past weekend?
I didn't get an exact offer, no, but
it seemed like every other post on social media had, and I thought that was a great touch by the staff.
Individual written letters.
Yeah, those letters that they could post, because that's what these kids want to do, is show that off and be able to post that. I thought that was a nice touch by the staff to put that kind of in a digital written letter signed by Coach Pittman that these kids could show off, have a little humble brag about.
Well, you got a hit on your hands as far as Cody Vincent does a great job with the graphics for the football team, and you got a hit on your hand when kids, a lot of kids retweet out graphics, and obviously that was very big for those young men. And like you said, it was really a good touch how they did it.
Yeah, and you just kind of look at where they're at, right now, and Arkansas is moving closer to that 25 number. I just clicking here on the numbers and moving up to the mid-teens. My computer's moving a little slow, but I'm
number 17.
17. I thought it was 16.
Jordan Crook was 17.
17.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was trying to verify was he had moved him to 17. All right, let's move over to Eric Musselman's program, because as good as all that news was for football over the weekend and some things happening, there's just as impactful a news coming out of basketball. They didn't have commitments, but you got some news. They had an on-campus visit. It was an unofficial, right, with five-star Bryson Warren, Little Rock native, playing up in Missouri at Link Academy. Bryson Warren was on campus with Coach Muss in the last week. Yeah,
on Sunday, he and his mom, dad, and two younger siblings visited, and hey, let's face it, because of COVID, a lot of times these kids haven't been on campus for a long, long time, and it was good to get Bryson there, and he was able to get more of an in-depth look. I mean, obviously, Zoom meetings and phone calls are very good about educating kids about your program, but when you get to be able to see them in person and get to show them graphics and really talk to them and give them more detail in person, I think that really helps. And I think it did with Bryson. He seemed to be really, really impressed, obviously, with everything that they do. And like he said, everything they do is NBA style. And when you're a 16, 17, 18-year-old young man, you're wanting to go to the next level, and you see all the experience that Coach Musselman and his staff has, and when they talk about it, they've done it. So that gives them a lot of credibility. And then one of the things that really impressed me too was when he and his family left, the entire coaching staff and support staff, I would estimate, 15 to 20 members of the staff walked them out to their car. I think that was just sending a signal that this is how important you are to us, and how much you're wanted at the University of Arkansas. And he even mentioned that. He talked about that they showed a lot of love.
Yeah. Khalil Ware, North Little Rock, another valued target, 5-star player, going to announce his commitment and where he plans to attend on Monday. Are you hearing anything? We've had some folks calling that they don't feel good about Arkansas, but not very confident. What's your gut feeling telling you about what Khalil's going to tell us on Monday?
Yeah, I'm not the most optimistic either. But hey, Arkansas did everything that they possibly could to try to get him on board if he chooses elsewhere. But right now, I like I said, I'm not that optimistic. And but hey, sometimes young men, they grow up, they root for a particular team, or they want to, sometimes other kids want to go out of state and experience different things. And we've seen that with, other kids in other sports, and even in basketball and football, not too, distant past, but, there's a lot of reasons to go into kids and their decisions. So I guess on Monday, when he announces, if he holds a press conference, we'll find out more. And
Nick Smith got another offer. Nick Smith's another North Little Rock player, another Central Arkansas connection that continues to build his recruiting resume.
Yeah, and he'll announce the top 8 today. And,
I saw that.
I fully expect Arkansas to be on that list. He's slated to visit Arkansas officially for the Texas game, so I know the staff's continuing to work on him very, very hard, and we'll see what happens there. Yeah.
All right, looking at Darian Ford, who is already committed to Arkansas. I saw yesterday a picture on social media where the Gatorade Player of the Year banner came in, and that's a big honor when you're singled out as the Player of the Year. I know that thing goes back. I remember being in high school when Barry Lunny got selected as the Gatorade Player of the Year at Southside High School, and they had a school assembly just for that. So it's a big honor. I mean, it's been going on for decades when Gatorade's seemingly done that forever. So Darian got the banner yesterday, and I saw that picture for Gatorade Player of the Year.
Yeah, I would imagine it's in his bedroom. That's something to be very proud of because it's a very prestigious award, and he obviously worked hard for it. And there's a reason why a lot of more than 20 schools. I think it was probably more like 30 schools wanting to be in their program, but obviously Arkansas was able to win him over. But big honor for him, and he's just a great kid too.
Yeah. Quick baseball note, then we'll come back to some football before we get out of here. You wrote about Chris Lenzili, the Wake Forest outfielder. Heck of a player, it sounds like, going to come in and play for Dave Van Horn. Great transfer pickup. Tell us more about a guy that hit, 11 home runs, was a Dick Hauser semifinalist. Quality pickup for Dave Van Horn here.
Yeah, he was a second-team All-American by a couple of publications in 2019. Like you said, a Dick Hauser Trophy semifinalist. He's also first-team All-ACC 2019. He career-wise, I mean, he was he really put up some impressive numbers. He started 166 of 170 games for the Deacons, and then his career batting average is .298 with 42 home runs, 46 doubles, and 147 RBIs. And his home run total is number 8 all time in Wake Forest history. So this is about as impressive of a transfer as you can get. If you look at his resume. Yeah.
All right, let's slide back to football before we wind down the conversation. I was looking at ESPN's rankings this morning in Arkansas in recruiting after Jordan Crook's commitment, which moves the class to 17, is now up to 21 in the ESPN rankings. I hadn't checked some of the other services, but Arkansas climbing in some of those. That's a great number for Sam Pittman at this point. Do you expect any more commitments prior to the start of the season? I know some guys are narrowing their list. Could 17 become 20 before you play Rice? What's your forecast for where Sam Pittman and his staff may be before they start the actual season?
You never rule it out, but I think the next one will possibly come September the 14th when Anthony Brown, defensive back from Tennessee, he was supposed to announce July the 29th. I think he's the one to keep an eye on. He may be the next one, but you never. There's been maybe a surprise or two here or there over the past few years where you wasn't expecting a kid to announce, and he did. So you never rule it out. Right before the season.
Practice begins tomorrow, Richard, and you've studied these freshmen and even the redshirt freshmen that are beginning practice tomorrow with this team. Anyone that you're expecting to maybe make some noise we haven't thought of yet? We had a question earlier, and we talked to Tom Murphy about Keytron Jackson at wide receiver. There's some younger players maybe you got your eye a little sharper on as fall practice and camp begins tomorrow.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Tom. Keytron is one to keep an eye on. They really need that second receiver with Michael Woods going elsewhere. Obviously, the running backs, Rocket Sanders, can he provide them some depth at running back? Because you need that backup guy who's obviously going to be getting a lot of snaps during the season, or at least you hope so. Because Traylon Smith, that would be a heavy load for him if he didn't have some help. Defensive line, I'm anxious to see the transfers because I tend to think that they really help themselves there, and some of the people I've talked to and just some of the workouts and everything that they just feel like that the defense is going to be much improved this year, and I think that's obviously much needed. And another kid I'd keep an eye on because I think that you obviously need more depth at the linebacker position because you didn't have that last year, is Chris Powell, who was a Hog Futures feature today, but by Bob Holt, but a freshman from Georgia who had an impressive offer list. It was about 6'6", about 240, obviously good size already. But see how he does, because he was able to go through spring practice, so that obviously helped. But they definitely need to improve the amount of depth that they have at the linebacker position, so Grant Morgan and Bumper Pool can get a breather once in a while.
I hope this is a year we don't see any of the offensive linemen, like a Terry Wells or a Cole. I hope all of those guys can redshirt this year, meaning these seniors and these experienced players, a Myron Cunningham who came back, a Ty Clary who had to play young as a freshman, can stay healthy and in a position where none of these young guys have to play, and they can maybe take a red shirt here early and develop and get their weight to where it needs to be, because Arkansas has not had that luxury. So, Tom, I'm glad to hear you didn't list several offensive linemen as I ask you that question.
No, I agree with you, Tommy. That's something that you definitely want to see, is that the freshmen redshirt, get a year in the weight room, and then their fourth, fifth year, that's when they usually really, kind of start to excel, because their physical strength is and maturity is up there with other guys that they're facing in the trenches, and that's, you don't like playing freshmen unless they're a freakishly athletic type kid like Sean Andrews or somebody like that who can come in, and he's physical enough to be able to play on the SEC level. But most freshmen, the vast majority of freshmen, aren't to that level, and you hope that they can redshirt, like you said.
Absolutely. All right, a little longer conversation than usual, but we had a lot to get to here today after what was a busy recruiting weekend, a lot happening, and appreciate your time. Sam Pittman talks today, so I know we're going to have a lot to talk about. High school camps are underway. High school football season will be here faster than college football season, so it's here, Tom, or here, Richard. So.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you guys having me.
All right, Richard Davenport with us every Recruiting Thursday here on the Morning Rush. No one does it better than RD, and we're glad he's with us here every Thursday morning. And you can read Richard's reports at WholeHogSports.com.